Hi, this is Amber with Swift Thinking, and today I wanted to talk to you a little bit about SVG files. So first of all, what is an SVG file? Well, it stands for Scalable Vector Graphic. And basically what that means is that you can make these images bigger or smaller and they don't get pixely. So if you think about something on your computer, if you take just a piece of clip art and you make it bigger, eventually it gets like that spotty look to it. SVG files won't do that. So now, why is this important and why do you need to know it? Well, when MDS updated to its new version, they changed a lot of their stamp brushes from PNG style files, which are going to be your bit files where it gets pixely when you get it bigger, and instead now they're making their stamp sets as SVG files. So for an example, I've got Cottage Garden. I had the old version that was the .png file extension, and I've got the new one with .svg extension. So if I put both of them on the page, first of all you can see the one that they're making more true to size, and the other they gave us a lot bigger so that it wouldn't get pixely, because if you try to make it any bigger, it tells you it's going to pixelate when it's printed, and that's not good. And in fact, here, if I make it a whole bunch bigger for you, you do start to see that pixelation along the edges. Hope you can see that on the recording. On the other hand, the SVG ones, first of all, they're bringing it in more true to size of what the actual stamp set was. And with these, you can go ahead and make it as big as you want, and it's not going to get pixely. So see how nice and smooth that is? It's not pixelating like the other one did. So that is one of the cool things about it, is that especially when you're doing something like a scrapbook page instead of a card, a lot of times you want these stamps to be bigger, and now you can make them as big as you want. The other cool thing about SVG type files is that is also what Stampin' Up! Has always used as their punch files. Now there are a lot of things you can do with punches that you can't do with stamps. So it's kind of fun if you navigate out to where your stamps are. So for me, I'm going into the Components, Stamps, Cottage Garden, and here's that butterfly SVG file that we were just looking at. And I can also go to Components, Punches, and I just have a users file set up. And I can go ahead and say duplicate, and then put that in this new stamp, or in this new punches folder. Move it from stamps to punches. Now when I go into my Digital Studio, I can look for my punches, go into that users category, and there's that cottage butterfly. I say apply. So there's the stamp. Now I can do things like fill it with paper. Fun, right? Pick that one. So now I've got this cool little butterfly that not only can I use as a stamp, but if I make a copy of it into my punches folder, I can also use it as a punch and do things like punch out DSP or fill with photos if you had a punch that would work for that, or a stamp that was chunky enough to actually see a photo in. So that is one of the coolest features of the new MDS. And I know I keep saying that there's lots of fun features of the new MDS, but this one is truly outstanding, that they changed the type of stamp files that they're using. And there are so many other neat things that we can do with them now. One other thing I should mention is when you're on the Stampin' Up! Website, they still have some of their old style stamps out there, and some of the new stamps also aren't SVG files, just because if they're too grungy or too many little pieces, they weren't able to make them as SVG files because it just gets to be too complicated of a file. So how do you know when you're buying a stamp brush set if it's the old school style or the .png, or if it's this new SVG type file. Well, when you go in, you can see this one, it doesn't say anything about being SVG. So this is one of the old styles. And also if you looked at the date, it was before 2012. So that's also a good sign because that's when they started switching over, was I think August 2012. It's when they came out with MDS2. But let's see if we can find one of the newer ones. Let's see. I feel like this one's fairly new. No, this one also doesn't say SVG. Oh, but I guess I should point out this is one of the new ones that must have been too detailed to make into an SVG because it was just made this year, so it is very recent. So just because they're recent doesn't mean that they're going to be SVG files. You gotta keep a lookout. Here we go. I know that this one they've changed. Alright, so it says SVG artwork. This download is an SVG, scalable vector graphic. And so if you come across a kit or stamp brush set and it has this SVG symbol on it, that means that the stamp brush set in it is SVG files, and you can do all these cool things with them. So that is your MDS tip for today. I hope you enjoy it, and I hope you start making some of your own punches from some of these stamp brush sets. Swift Thinking signing off. I hope you flutter by again soon.